Your Zakat transformed the lives of a Syrian family who escaped from the horrors of their war-torn country. They fled with no possessions and endured life-threatening conditions to reach safety here in the UK. After fleeing persecution, your Zakat supported this husband, his pregnant wife, and their 6 children who were living in overcrowded conditions and poverty. When Abdullah came to us at the food aid hub, he was unable to put food on the table as the extra rent and bills were leaving little money for food. When I visited their home, it was wintertime. The family were huddled in one room with the young children and an electric heater. Abdullah had done a food shop and didn't have any money left to top up the meter. I completed a financial assessment, which showed the family of 8 had only £18 a week for food. The child benefit was not being paid to the family, and due to the benefit cap, they were only getting tax credits for 3 children. With the benefit cap, Abdullah was paying part of his own rent from these benefits, so it was no surprise he had no money for food and electric. It felt like this was not winter 2019 in the UK. As I watched these beautiful little children, I saw the same children in news images of Syria, buildings destroyed and a poor little soul stood there not knowing where to turn. As they huddled on the floor close to the heater, glancing at me shyly, my face would smile, but as I looked into their eyes I could see the trauma, the pain they had endured in the gentle years of their lives. It didn't feel like a home in the UK. As I looked around the room, scattered with few belongings, it was impossible to not see the exhausted, traumatized, innocent children whose eyes were too old for their years. The 2-bedroom house meant the living room was a bedroom by night. The house was damp and freezing. The cold ran through me as I sat and watched how this family had ended up here, hoping for a safe haven, only to be living as though they were still surviving in Syria. Abdullah was looking for work, but his children were in 3 different schools around Oldham. It took him almost 2 hours and several buses to get them all there and then back in the evening. UKeff helped the family to apply for child benefit and housing. Whilst this was pending, we assisted the family with clothing, shoes, coats and beds. We taught Abdullah how to manage his bills and to budget. He was shown where to shop and how to shop around for bargains and cheaper prices for food and clothing. Abdullah and his family were supported with your Zakat for the shortfall he had in his benefits. This helped to cover the rent and bills whilst he awaited the processing on his claim. Abdullah now has a house which is damp-free. Thanks to your kind donations, he was able to fully furnish it, and his boys and girls have separate rooms to sleep in. Abdullah's children have moved to schools nearby, and he has a job to support his family. Abdullah will be ever grateful for the support UKeff provided him. He cried as he explained what he had been through in Syria and the traumatic journey they endured. He said even though they were grateful to be safe here, the poor conditions and the financial distress, combined with the traumas of war he and his family had endured, had led him into depression. He says Allah Azza wa Jal sent him to UKeff, who were a light in his life, and he finally felt at ease. Abdullah tells me he prays for me every day. I tell Abdullah it's not me, it's Allah Azza wa Jal and our donors who enable me to be at the forefront, so your du'as should be for them. So Abdullah makes du'as for everyone, not only those who work for UKeff, but everyone who donates. He asks may Allah Azza wa Jal make this heavy on their scales on the Day of Judgment. Remember, it's our duty to help the neighbour to our side who goes hungry. The vulnerable amongst us have already been presented to us from the Almighty.